Okay, I think we're live. It is. Hi, Paula. How are you? Good to see you. Paula's here. Good to see Paula in the house. Let's see here. It is almost 1 o'clock in the morning. It is 12:15, 2024. Got a couple weeks left till Christmas. Hope everybody's done their shoppings and like me, who waits for the last second to get things done. It's good to see Paula in here. I'm going to go over the true crime cases of the week. Um, I want to go over a missing person case of the week, and her name is going to be Sierra Taylor. Sierra Taylor, I think that's the name. Sorry for butchering that. Hey, Mustang, how good to see you, buddy. Good to see Mustang 1965 here. All right, so let me uh, play an intro, and then we'll get right to it. Good to see everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. It's winter for sure here. It's probably about 7 degrees outside. It's very, very cold. All right, so let me play an intro and I'll be right back. See you soon. Be right back. Too funny. I guess it's the generic version of another one bites the dust. It's too funny. Hey, Southern Gal, how are you? Southern Gal's here. We got Paula here. We got Mustang 1965 here. We got Dandy Linus is in here, which is awesome. It's always good to see Dandy here. Hello, Southern Girl. Good to see you. Hope everybody's well. It's pretty freaking cold out. It was 7 degrees last night, and we'll be lucky if we make 10 degrees tonight. So it's definitely winter. It sucks, but it's here. All right, and Christmas is in 2 weeks, so I hope everybody's done their shoppings. I have not. All right, so we'll get right to it. I want to go over this here because I just came across this tonight. This is something that just kind of happened not too long ago. So I want to play this one here first. And then we'll go to the press conference, I guess. So this happened, I think this is in Columbus. No talk of dirty underwear. I believe this is coming from Columbus, Ohio. Less than a week until Ari's sentencing. Oh, it's already been. Wow. So we have this going on here. I believe this is in Columbus, Ohio. So this is when police arrived to the scene. Sergeant James Fuqua said they found 3 women unalived inside, and I think this might be associated with another case too. But let's play this first. This happened about an hour ago. So let's play this here. 1300 block. in South Columbus, Ohio. So let's play this here. Hey, buddy. It was here. Good to see you, buddy.
Have three. That's particularly alarming and troubling to us.
Now at 11, Columbus police continue investigating a triple homicide on the city's south side. 3 women found dead inside this home. Questions now rise on who is responsible. Thanks for joining us tonight at 11. I'm Colin Dorsey. Police are keeping the details of this investigation private for now as they continue looking for a suspect. 10 TV's Carla Rogner is learning more about this investigation tonight, and she's live.
So I'm just learning about this now. This came across. I get alerts sometimes if there's like breaking kind of news stuff here. So I'm learning about this the same time everybody else is. So this is, like I said, I believe this is South Columbus, Ohio.
Live from Columbus Police Headquarters, Carla.
Yeah, police aren't sharing many of the details yet about this case, including how those 3 women were killed. But tonight we're learning that the home where their bodies were found is connected to a man who was killed earlier this week.
It was traumatizing.
DeAndre Herndon is grieving the loss of his high school friend, Daryl Hambrick, shot and killed on the south side this week.
Daryl was a cool dude.
When he found out about Daryl's death, Herndon went to check on his home on South Ohio Avenue, where he made a disturbing discovery inside.
And I had seen Daryl, and I knew he lived here, so I came over here to check on Daryl. When I came in the house, the door was kind of ajar a little bit. So I came in, walked in the house. I seen like a body laying there. That's when I backed up out of there and I called the police.
Officers got there. They obviously contained the scene. And unfortunately, medics pronounced 3 adult female victims that had all passed away.
Daryl Hambrick was killed on Tuesday, about a half a mile from the home where police found the women's bodies on Saturday. Police declined to answer questions on whether the deaths were connected and didn't share details about either homicide.
Anything you can say about why this is such a complicated scene and why the information is so limited?
Again, it goes back to when you have multiple victims within one scene, there's so many moving parts because investigators obviously aren't sure exactly of everything. So they want to make sure they
This is freaking terrible.
have a full picture in their head of what actually happened to piece these things together.
Spending hours on scene, police say they are meticulously going through every piece of possible evidence to try and piece together what happened. In the meantime, DeAndre Herndon is processing the traumatic scene.
It's just an unfortunate situation, just sorry that this happened.
The police did not share the women's names or much information about them. They actually said it could be a while until they release more details about these homicides because they don't want to compromise the investigation. Live at CPD, Carla Rogner, 10 TV News.
All right, so I think, which is the one I just played? I want to play the press conference of this here. So hold on, just give me 1 second here. Where the hell is that? Back here.
So just before.
All right, so this is the same case. This is the press conference from law enforcement on this same case. Let's play this here.
4 p.m. this afternoon, officers were called to a 1300 block of South Ohio on a report that a friend had found some of their friends inside of this residence having medical distress. And when officers got there,
Oh shit! I forgot to unmod you, Dandy. Remind me in a second. I'll do that. Good to see everybody in the house, though. Yes, Southern Gal is awesome. She's posting everybody's channel in here. That's awesome. Necessarial Evil's got a great channel. Paula's in here. She got a great channel. Of course, Southern Gal's got a great channel. I missed Steve's live tonight. Just not getting into this whole health care CEO thing. But I still try to follow it since it is true crime, but I'm not, unalivings happen in New York City all the time. It's, anyways.
obviously contained the scene. And unfortunately, medics pronounced 3 adult female victims that had all passed away. And I just want to say, obviously, this time of year, any time of year, it's unfortunate when someone loses their life, but particularly this time of year during the holidays, it's going to be very difficult for all of these victims' family to come to the grips that, unfortunately, these family members will no longer be in their lives. So again, just to clarify, just before 4 p.m., officers were called to the 1300 block of South Ohio.
I also checked out JC Ann. Is it JC Ann? She had another live this week. She's really good. She got a great channel. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, it's terrible, sad. It's very sad, but I don't know. It's just if I covered every pew-pewing in big cities, it'd be 24/7 on lives. It's sad. It's awful, but I don't know that case there and the Karen Reed case. There's some cases I have a hard time following. It's just I don't know.
To investigate what a caller had described as a medical event for people inside of the house. And medics got here and pronounced 3 adult female victims all passing away. So at this point, this is still very active and ongoing. So we have very limited details that we can discuss. But unfortunately, 3 people have lost their lives. Again, all adult female victims.
Is it a homicide investigation?
It absolutely is a homicide investigation. But beyond what type of homicide or what led up to it, we're still unclear, and we're working through that.
This was not a shooting.
We're working through the manner of death to determine what actually happened before we release any of that information.
When you got to the scene, were there other people there? Was it a lot of people, a large group?
We did have witnesses.
Yeah, Goldberger too. Yeah, I mean the guy's guilty. I mean, what am I supposed to say? I think the trial. I think the Brian Kohlberger's trial will be fairly attention getting. I think, but there's really no news coming out of that either. So it's just, I mean the pew-pewing in New York City. That's a common occurrence. It happens all the time. It's like,
Is there, and we're working through not only those witnesses but canvassing the area for any video.
Remember the movie Big with Tom Hanks when he was transformed into an adult? Remember that movie where he's in New York City? I forget where he was, and for the first time he gets so scared with the window open because there's all kinds of shooting outside, and then later in the movie, it kind of puts him to sleep because it's like a nonstop occurrence. It's like I know it's sad somebody got unalived, but it's if he just my opinion, if he wasn't a CEO of a major company, it probably wouldn't have gotten reported.
Video evidence, but again, very limited information at this time, and you see the amount of detectives we have back here that's going to work tirelessly to determine who done this heinous crime and bring justice to the family of these victims.
Are you thinking multiple suspects, one suspect?
Still unclear at this point how many suspects are involved.
But no one's in custody?
No one's in custody as of.
Go to the so when I think about big cities, New York, Boston, bigger cities, is you go to the subways and you can find, I don't know, probably the best musicians in the world just sitting there playing music with a thing of, I mean, I've heard some really good musicians on the subways, man. And I don't know if they're technically homeless or not, but I mean, there's actually a whole website that has, I forget what they call it, street musicians that, check it out. It's awesome.
And the search is ongoing.
Absolutely ongoing.
And we looked up the house. It's registered to someone who was a victim of a homicide earlier this week. Is that connected?
I don't have any of that information, so that's something that the investigators will work through to determine if that's accurate or not.
I don't think so. I don't think New York has the DP. They might. I doubt it.
And we expect to be here for all night.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is a very complex scene. With the amount of victims that we have, it's going to take a little bit longer to make sure that we're very careful in going through the scene meticulously so we do not miss any key piece of evidence, because unfortunately it's very unusual to have so many victims in one incident. So, you know, one homicide is one too many, but when you have three, that
Or a suspect
they're not a suspect at this time.
in this house. Just to clarify where the crime scene is, it's the house that faces the alley. Back there.
1300 block of South Ohio is what we're comfortable saying right now.
And then the house where you responded to, is this a house that's familiar with Columbus Police?
We are always in this neighborhood, not just that house, but many other houses.
It would be weird how the prosecutor. Hey, Heather Brown, how are you? Good to see you. Firelight's here. Good to see you. Theo Sandra, Firelight. Is that how you? Yeah, I didn't think they had the death penalty there. It would be strange to me how they would try to do that, anyways, because I don't know, premeditated, maybe. I don't know. I mean, that case is going to come down to ballistics, really. It's good to see Firelight in here. It's good to see Heather Brown in here. Hi, Heather. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Hope Miranda Lee's doing well too. I know she has been under the weather again here soon. We're just going over this case that I just ran into tonight. Good to see everybody here. This is coming out of South Columbus, Ohio. I think this is going to be tied in with another homicide here, but I could be wrong.
Again, we try to make sure that we patrol all areas geographically within the boundaries of the city of Columbus. But unfortunately, this house right now, we're just focusing on this particular investigation.
And do you believe they were killed?
Also, another good channel is Timmy's Legacy. I've been catching up on some of her stuff too. That's Miss Barbara. Awesome information about Timothy. I went over the Timothy teenage years and stuff like that. She does a great job. Let's hope she finds some justice here soon too. Yes, it's good to see Firelight in here. It's good to see everybody in here.
Today, or have they
Yes,
been, okay.
today.
Anything that are you hearing any helpful information from neighbors and people out here?
We have not, but this is a great time to stress if anyone has any information on this particular case, we urge them to come forward with that information, because there's no evidence that we will not take or any call for any type of information that could possibly help us solve this case. So again, if you are out there and you have any information on this case, we urge you to come forward with it.
What's the age range? I know you said adult female, but can you give like 20s, 30s, 40s?
At this point, we're just going to stick with adult females at this. We're still working through the next of kin notifications.
And have you talked to any of their families yet?
Still working through the next of kin notifications.
And then, sorry, one more question. Are they related in any way?
That part I'm unsure of, and the investigators are trying to determine all that right now.
While you're here, can I ask you, just because it's curious that the name of the person is the name of the person who owns the house was a homicide victim, is there any update on that investigation into the Daryl Handbrake case?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I think that's Handbrake. I think it's Handbrake case. I did hear about that case, and I'm wondering if that's related to this case, but
indication of like what led up to that homicide? I know you're probably not.
I'm not at liberty to.
Well, apparently the other guy went over to check on these people here, which is a little suspicious, and then found these people unalive. So it's not. It's a little weird
to discuss that, unfortunately, because right now they're focusing
Right.
on this investigation.
And then was there any drug activity at the house? Any drugs that you found inside?
Nothing that I'm aware of.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I
No,
have a lot of
that's
questions
all right.
just because
Nope,
of what we're
that's-
hearing. And then anything you can say about why this is such a complicated scene and why the information is so vivid?
Again, it goes back to when you have multiple victims within.
Thank you, Heather Brown. Heather Brown's awesome. Thank you, Southern Gal. Timmy's Legacy is awesome. Barbara does such great work. I'm just so glad that I know Southern Gal, because Southern Gal introduced me to Barbara, Miss Barbara, and it's a good thing because she's amazing. Hey, Matahari, how are you? Good to see you. Thank you, Heather, for that. Appreciate that. Oh, hold on a second. I want to put this in there. All right, there we go. It's always good to see everybody in here. Hope everybody's having a good weekend so far. All right, we'll play a little bit more of this, and then we'll get out of this here and move on to something else.
In one scene, there's so many moving parts because investigators.
Well, I don't know if anybody's been out at night, but they have the, what is it, the Gemayed meteor showers that are happening outside. It's pretty cool. I saw them last night. It looked like the sky was falling. It's amazing.
Obviously aren't sure exactly of everything, so they want to make sure they have a full.
I might be pronouncing that wrong. I think it's the Gemayed meteor event.
Picture in their head of what actually happened to piece these things together. So that's what makes it so particularly complicated, because this isn't like the movies or TV where we have something wrapped up in an hour. You know what I mean? This is something that we.
If they were drones, then they were in serious trouble because they were like burning up as they were falling. It could be. Who knows? I don't know. I do know that I had heard something about the Gemayed meteor storm, but it was pretty cool. It was like one every 4 or 5 minutes or so.
We want to make sure that we get it right. So that's why it's so complicated.
And you might not be able to comment on this, but we were just being told by some neighbors that a lot of homeless people hang out back there, that it's not like one person's house. Is that true? Do you know anything
All
about
part of
that?
the investigation.
Blame the homeless. You know, it's like, God. This is obviously either a drug thing or a love triangle thing going on here. Something's going on here, but I don't think it's a homeless thing.
That they'll get to.
Oh. All right, so that's the end of that. I'll try to get into that. Keep following that. I have a feeling that's I could be wrong. I don't know. It's probably part of another case that's going on, and maybe people are trying to shut up other people. Who knows? But I do want to cover this here a little bit too, because this happened here today. I think this was in Vermont. So New Hampshire State Police help in search for a man who pew-pewed a Vermont police officer, authorities say. And this happened a few hours ago, actually, here. So let's check this out here.
For 38-year-old Scott Mason of St. Johnsbury.
Whoops, let me rewind this here.
State police say the search is on for 38-year-old Scott Mason of St. Johnsbury. That shooting happening at this blue house on Portland Street. Now there's a $25,000 reward for any information that could lead to him. Vermont State Police say officers responded to a domestic violence call around 4:30 Friday night at Mason's apartment. That's where St. Johnsbury Police Captain Jason Gray was shot with a shotgun in the chest. He's recovering at Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center with serious injuries.
The circumstance is not anything that anybody ever wants to deal with.
The St. Johnsbury Select Board called a meeting to address what happened. The town manager says Captain.
You can drop any channel you like in here. Feel free to do it, as long as it's not like an OnlyFans account, I guess. Yeah, feel free to do it. That's why I give out the wrenches here so that people can drop their own channels in here. It helps to get the word out for some of these cases that we cover. I know Southern Gal is awesome. She has an amazing channel. She's just great. Allegedly speculating has a family that has a missing family that will be on panel tomorrow. Would love for any of you interested to come by and see us. Yeah, absolutely. Dean has nobody fits. True crime. True crimes need more true crimers. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to post it in the chat. Sandra Firelight, for sure. Dino's probably charging his phone. Yeah, I don't know. If you want a wrench, let me know. That way you can post that. Yes, absolutely. All right, so let's go back to this.
Captain Gray's family is worried for his.
No, this is in, St. Johnsbury, Vermont. Been up there many times. I think I've actually been to that Chinese food place right there.
Health.
It was not a call that they probably wanted to come to at the hospital. I could see that they were quite scared, and we're thinking of them.
Residents say safety is a concern.
This guy looks, I don't know, just the way his mugshot was taken, but he looks pretty fried right there.
With Mason at large.
I'm very concerned, and it's bothering me. I didn't sleep at all last night because of this. And I'm dog tired right now.
This town isn't safe right now. They stopped all the festivals, everything that we were supposed to have this weekend. All we need is peace in this world, just to get everything done. Get him.
I mean, there's so many great channels out there. It's good to get as much attention to some of these great channels as possible, because they all do such great work. PJ Lighting the Way Home, all of these channels are really, really good, and they do such great work that we need to get them to statuses where the word gets out more. And I try to help out as much as I can with some of these channels, because it's hard to do this. It's not easy to do this. It takes a lot of time, but it's worth it for sure.
Him safely, reopen the town.
Now, police say that Mason is armed and dangerous. Both they and town leaders encouraging residents to use their best judgment. If you see him, they say, don't approach and call 911. In St. Johnsbury, Vermont, John Schoenheider, WMUR News 9.
I mean, here it's all about the victims' families, trying to get as much attention as possible to some of these, less covered cases that just don't get a lot of information out. And it sucks, because, the families and victims' families and all of these people are hoping to get, thank you, Dandy. Appreciate it. Absolutely. All right. So what am I doing now? All right. So I'm going to go here to this. We'll go to this missing kayaker guy again. He's in the news again. Hold on a second here. So this guy basically faked his own death here. He, I believe he's been arrested for something. But this is going over this case here. I think he's back in the States now. He had a bond of like $500 or so. So let's play this. All right, here we go.
This week, when Ryan
Has anybody heard about this case? This is this guy. They basically went and turned up the entire state of Wisconsin to try to look for this guy, and he ended up taking off, faking his own death, taking off with the insurance money, moving to the country, Georgia, Republic of Georgia, to be with, allegedly to be with some other woman. He basically just left his whole family, and he wasn't fooling anybody, especially authorities. So they found him. Here he is. So here we go.
Borgwart returned to the U.S. with little warning. He was presumed to be in the Republic of Georgia for the past several months after allegedly faking his own death in August and fleeing the country. The questions only intensifying as that story shifted and more people were swept up in the fallout. CBS 58's Adam Reif has a special report tonight on the mystery that has captured the nation's attention.
There's village idiots everywhere. It's not just Wisconsin. There's loaded here. Mind of Monsters is awesome. Yes, Mind of Monsters. I don't know why I always keep forgetting her. But Mind of Monsters is absolutely amazing. Yeah, this guy's a real winner here.
The deception lasted 4 months. It spanned several countries and continents, cost tens of thousands of dollars, endangered lives, and impacted countless people. But what captured the nation's attention began with one man's plan. August 11th, Watertown, Wisconsin. Ryan Borgward, 1 month shy of his 45th birthday, went to church with his wife and their 3 children in the morning. That night, he took a kayak an hour northwest to Green Lake to fish. At 10:49 p.m., he texted his wife that he was heading to shore. He never returned. A search began that next morning. Borgward's overturned kayak was found in the deepest part of the lake. A few days later, his fishing rod and tackle box were found, his phone and wallet inside. 2 weeks later, divers and cadaver dogs joined the search. For 54 days, volunteers and professionals searched the lake by water, air, and land, but there were few answers. The searchers were stumped. There was no sign of a body.
Yeah, I definitely will subscribe to all these channels that I haven't been to. I'm pretty sure I'm subscribed to Matahari though. And if Sandra Firelight has a channel, I'll subscribe to that too. I'm probably subscribed to like 500 or 600 people. Who knows?
After months and miles of combing the lake. So they started working on a new theory. Was it possible Ryan was still alive? October 7th, nearly 2 months after Ryan Borgward went missing, investigators discovered his passport had been checked at the Canadian border just 2 days after he supposedly drowned.
I remember when this case came out, and even when it came out, I thought it was kind of strange. You're with Barb on okay. Yeah, I was over there on Timmy's Legacies channel a couple times this week. One time, I think it was she had Steve on there. Steve was on there. Steve's awesome. Great channel. She's awesome. She's an awesome person.
They got Borgward's laptop from his wife and analyzed the hard drive, and the story began to unravel.
In a strange twist, in the case of
This is the thing. People are so dumb, right? You know, they obviously don't watch true crime like we do. You know, just don't leave any digital forensics behind, right? I mean, this guy is pretty stupid.
a missing kayaker in Wisconsin now.
Police now believe the husband and father of 3 is alive and living in Eastern Europe.
The laptop showed that before he disappeared, Borgward was communicating with a woman believed to be from Uzbekistan. He had also looked into moving money to foreign banks, changed the email addresses.
Uzbekistan, right? This guy can't find anybody else closer than that. He's got to go all the way to Uzbekistan. It's just so weird. These people are
connected to his bank accounts and obtained a second passport.
We got many pieces, but we got a lot more pieces to find.
Authorities sent him an email wherever he was, and Borgward sent a video to prove it was him.
I'm in my apartment.
I spend most of my day either retweeting or reposting all of these channels because they do such good work. Doodlebug does great work on the missing, Arctic True Fox, Southern Gal. Jenny's here. Uzbekistan is the new vacation spot for lovers. Hey, Jenny, 8675309's in here. I hope Jenny's doing well. But all these channels are great. Doodlebug, I haven't seen Honeybee in a while. She's got a great channel. Heather Brown, you need a channel too.
Safe, secure.
As they communicate.
This guy looks like he just got his hand caught in a cookie jar right here. Like he's like, oh my God, how did you catch me? You're an idiot. That's how we caught you.
Safe, secure.
As they communicated, Borgward explained how he fled the country. After overturning the kayak in the middle of the lake and paddling back to shore in an inflatable raft.
You just can't make this stuff up. You just can't do it.
After Borgward rode through the night to Madison on an e-bike. He took $5,500 cash with him and hopped a bus to Detroit, got into Canada through customs, then continued on to Toronto. He flew from Toronto to Paris, then caught a final flight to the country of Georgia. But the question was why he
Really, Heather Brown, that would be awesome. That would be so awesome if you had your channel.
left in the first place. Ryan eventually told authorities he had spent a great deal of time researching how to disappear, and the whole idea was to sell the death. And Ryan said he would not come back.
How do you do this? I mean, how do you screw up this bad, though? If you've been researching this for months and months and months.
Green Lake County Sheriff Mark Podol tried to explain Borgward's state of mind.
Had personal matters going on, and he felt this was the right thing to do.
Borgward had still not contacted his wife and children. For weeks, Ryan Borgward remained overseas, but then in December, with little warning, he returned stateside. 4 months after he first went missing, he turned himself in here in Green Lake County, just across the lake from where he allegedly staged his death.
On December 10th, Ryan arrived.
I mean, it's almost like they need to put some of these people in a daycare for dummies. I mean, honestly, these people just, all the attention's got to be on them now. It's just so bizarre. Who would do this? Like, why would you do this? You can't fool everybody. You just can't.
On U.S. soil.
Borgward emailed authorities that he was coming back, then turned himself in at the Green Lake County Jail. The next day,
did he come willingly, Sheriff?
Yeah.
Authorities were still piecing together where exactly Borgward went, who he was.
The thing is that they took all of these resources, right, when they could have been doing other things, looking for this guy who obviously has no clue. And they should make him pay for this. They should make him pay back society for this because, it's other things could have been happening while they were looking for your ass. It's like there's actual crimes that are committed, and people need to focus on that and not on a dipshit here, right?
With and why he fled his family.
That's going to be up to him. Someday, but we're not going to release that.
Borgward was charged with obstructing an officer for allegedly leaving the kayak, phone, and wallet as false evidence.
State of Wisconsin versus Ryan Borgward.
He appeared in court the day after turning himself in.
I can't pay.
We had our first Jim Morrison.
I don't have money, so I'll defend myself.
The judge ruled he was not a flight risk, and soon after, he was released.
What? He's not a flight risk? He just left Uzbekistan.
Sheriff Podol has consistently said he'll pursue restitution for the costs of the county's search, estimated at $35,000 to $40,000. Other searchers risked their lives and livelihoods looking for a body that was never there.
So you're going down super deep water and then coming up super shallow, which just wreaks havoc on your body and on your equipment.
Additionally,
women in this situation don't have the luxury of closure.
Psychotherapist Vicky Stark helps women in a.
Was Southern Gal a mall rat? Was she part of the original mall rats? Because we were. Anna Kobayashi, yeah, we'll be going off over that soon too. Just, I think in her case it's a little different. I think she wanted to get. I think there's something going on in that family that people aren't talking about. But yeah, I mean, sure. Lost Boys, yeah, that was a good movie. What was that movie with? I'll never remember the name of that movie now. It was such a good movie. I'll have to remember that name. It was a drug movie. I forget who was in it now too. No, Blow. I'll remember it.
Facebook group called Runaway Husbands.
It's traumatic. It's literally traumatic.
2 days after Borgward returned to the U.S., his wife filed for separation. Stark said confusion is common.
So the wife's whole reality.
I think the guy from Iron Man was in it when he was really young. It was definitely an 80s movie. It was really good. I'll remember it. I'll have to Google it.
Is thrown into question. So it's not only her present and her future, but it's also her past.
Neither Borgward's wife nor their 3 teen children have spoken publicly about the ordeal. The only comments Ryan Borgward has made so far were in court.
Yes, that's it.
Now, leaving the country or trying to disappear without a trace are not illegal in themselves, but planting false evidence is. And Jessup, that.
Yeah, less than 0. That's it. Somebody's got a good memory of the 80s. Yes. Yes, that was an awesome movie. That wasn't that like based off of a true story? I think that was based off of a true story. I'm not sure. Yes, I try to be more specific, but my memory is so awful that I do remember watching that movie like 6 or 7 different times. I forget who else was in that. Wasn't James Spader in that? James, I think his name was James Spader or James Spade, something
That's
like
the
that.
misdemeanor charge that Ryan Borgward faces now. This story, obviously, probably far from over. Do we know what's next right now, Adam? Well, at least on the docket, come January 13th is when Ryan Borgward is scheduled to be in court again. Now, a couple days ago, he was representing himself because he did not yet have an.
I mean, how can somebody do this to his kids? You know, like Andrew McCarthy. The Andrew McCarthy. I thought James Spader was in that too. Not sure. The dude from Mannequin, Jamie Gertz, the girl that played the star. Yep. They were all in all these movies. Mannequin. We should do a movie night thing one of these nights.
An attorney. He could have an attorney by then, so we don't know if he'll have to be there in person. I've tried phone numbers and email addresses, everything we can find to get in touch with him. So far, we have not yet heard back. You have put in a lot of work on this story. Great job there, and we appreciate your work. Thank you. Thanks, Adam.
All right, so that's that. I'll play one more of these right here.
Only on Fox 6 tonight, our Bill Miston is here with exactly how things unraveled. Bill?
Hey there, Mary. Today, Ryan Borgward's wife filed for legal separation. Borgward appeared in a Green Lake County courtroom yesterday, nearly 24 hours after turning himself in. But as we uncovered in a now sealed search warrant, there's so much more to this story. Searchers.
Another movie that goes under the radar is Johnny Dangerously. That was a freaking hilarious movie with the guy from Saturday Night Live. What the hell is his name? I forget the name of the guy now. Oh, that was one of the funniest movies ever. Discord is an awesome group for streaming and chat. Yes. Yeah, I like war movies too. Michael Keaton, but wasn't the guy? What the hell was his name? He was a comedian on Saturday Night Live in the '80s. He was on there too. We should definitely have a movie night, game thing night. Absolutely. I forget his name now. He left Saturday Night Live and then nobody heard of him. But he did that movie. What's her face was in that movie too. Joe Piscopo. Yep. God, Zio Sandra is awesome at these. Because I know the faces, I always just forget the name. The woman from Taxi was in that. I think that was the woman from Taxi. What the hell was her name? That was just a funny movie. I'm a movie guy too. I've watched so many movies. It's not even funny. Unsolved Mysteries is good too. Lately, I've been watching Forensic Files.
Plied the depths of Green Lake in August, looking for Ryan Borgward's body.
This is a big story in a town of
Jodie
1,000.
Foster.
It captivated those who call Green Lake home.
You just think for the family how horrible that is.
For months, people in Green Lake thought Borgward was dead. But court filings say the 45-year-old father of 3 and husband from Watertown was nearly 6,000 miles away.
That movie, The Runaway. Has anybody ever seen that movie that had, I think Tom Selleck was in that. Gene Simmons from Kiss was in that. He's always plays the bad guy. And then what's the name of that actress there? Didn't she just die? What the hell was her name? Yeah, Cold Case Files was awesome too. That's all I listen to every single night. Taught me to fish and bait my own hook at age 4. Yep. Christian Slater was in Heathers, right? Wasn't he in Heathers? That was an awesome movie.
In the Caucasus, at a hotel in the country of Georgia, alive, with a woman
Way over here.
5,500
Way over here to meet a chick. It's just so funny. Like,
bucks.
On December 10th, Ryan arrived on U.S. soil.
He eventually turned himself into the Green Lake County Sheriff's Office.
What was it in those conversations with Mr. Borgward that made him change his mind?
That's going to be up to him someday.
The sheriff didn't detail much of the investigation. Now Fox 6 has new details about how this happened and potentially why. Fox 6 was able to get a look at a sealed search warrant. Borgward took out a
it's so weird too, because most of these movies I never saw in the movies. It was all on VHS. Remember? Remember the days where you could go to like a video store and get as many videos as you want, just watch them all day long. I mean, we have to share some DNA if we're both part Polish. You guys make great pierogies. My ex-wife used to make the best pierogies ever. They were just so good. Ugh.
a $375,000 life insurance policy months before his
Pierogies and goulash, the real goulash, with the real tomatoes and
disappearance. Investigators learned he said he wanted to protect his family in case something happened to him. A text file on Borgward's computer named Promise dates back to at least early April and shows messages between Borgward and another woman planning a life together. Investigators learned at the time of Borgward's disappearance, he had thousands of dollars of credit card debt hidden from his family. Filings say Borgward applied for a second passport in April. That passport was used to enter into Canada through the Detroit-Windsor Tunnel on August 12th, the day after he went missing.
These guys have everything on this guy. Like, they got him coming and going. They got him coming in and out of tunnels to Canada. They got him. It's just so weird how this guy looked into this. He researched this. He's such an idiot.
Borgward changed his banking information and cleared his hard drive, or so he thought. Investigators found those messages and the name of a woman, which eventually led to Borgward.
Good evening.
He sent this video to investigators in November as they worked to convince him to return to the U.S. Borgward appeared in court Wednesday on a misdemeanor obstruction charge.
Did you think he would come back?
I honestly did not think he would come back. We're a small town. It's a big deal. You just wasted a lot of manpower.
Now, a judge gave Borgward a $500 signature bond and was ordered to surrender his passport. Borgward was then released from jail yesterday afternoon. And following his court hearing, he's due back in Green Lake County Court.
What do you say to your kids? That's my question is, like, what do you say when you get, do you think he's even going to be able to see his kids again? I don't know. But what do you say to them, right? Like, I don't know. It's just so weird.
Next month to see if he can get an attorney.
So many interesting things in there. So many people, you just feel for the family, his family that he tried to leave behind and now he's back. What is the difference between a legal separation and a divorce?
Well, a legal separation is just that. A divorce completely ends a marriage. A legal separation, the marriage is still in place. However, that can be converted to a divorce at some point after a certain period of time. So the marriage stays in place at this point, and
what she's requesting, she wants sole possession of the kids, things that you would say just the marriage is still in place.
In the filings, it says that it's irretrievably broken.
The things that were deleted from the files there, he thought
I mean, I wouldn't be able to face anybody. He only had $20 on him, so someone bailed him out. Yeah, it's probably his mother. Yeah, I get the moose story to tell you about when it comes to hunting. Don't ever go moose hunting, especially here in New Hampshire. Not all it's cracked up to be.
Thought that they were deleted. They were able to treat. Will those hold up in court?
Were those?
Where he deleted the files, he thought that they were deleted, but they found them. They were able to.
Yeah, and investigators were able to look in.
I think we know by now, right? True crime buffs. You can't delete files. You just can't do it. They'll if you did it, they're gonna find it. And it's basically true crime 101. You can't delete files. Just get a divorce or I don't know. Just stop being dumb. It's hey, Aquarian One, good to see you. I do want to appreciate everybody that's been subbing lately. I do appreciate that. I do, appreciate the support for sure. But there's a lot of other people in this chat here that have great freaking channels. Necessary Evil. So go and follow them too, please.
And based on reading the criminal complaint, it appears that he did back up his computer for his wife here to make sure that she had information, but it appears that he backed up too much information according to the complaint, and that's what investigators were able to.
Yeah.
And he looked into this. He researched this. I don't know what books he was researching, but I don't think this was a good book to read because he did everything wrong, literally.
Developing out of Green Lake now. That kayaker, initially thought to have disappeared this summer, but later determined to have faked his own death at the time and left the country, is back in the U.S.
Ryan Borgward back in.
Hey, it's Mino Dino. Hey, buddy. How are you? Good to see you, man. Dino's in here. Faking your own death for dummies. I already like this person, Geosandra Firelight, because that's freaking hilarious. Faking your own death for dummies. I'm telling you, some people are just really, you can't, what is the old saying? You can't fix stupid.
Court this afternoon where he pled not guilty. Just a small part of this complex investigation. Here's what we know about Ryan Borgward.
That date better been worth it, man, because this guy here,
the 45-year-old man from Watertown, reported missing on August 12th. The sheriff's office suspected that Borgward faked his own death.
Right in this image, he looks like, how did you find me? Well, because you basically left like a peanut trail. Oh, wait, do you? So he was reported missing August. So this goes all the way back to August. Can you believe that was that long ago? Sheriff's office suspected he faked his own death. That was shortly after. They weren't buying anything. They did search the whole lake, though. So I don't know.
Led to a new investigation. Investigators, they contacted a woman who spoke Russian, and through her, they contacted Borgward overseas. The sheriff says Borgward told investigators his plan, including picking Green Lake, because it's the deepest lake in Wisconsin, besides Lake Michigan. Our Bill Miston explains the new developments today.
Good evening, it's Ryan Borgward.
Last month, the 45-year-old Watertown man sent this video to the Green Lake County Sheriff's investigators.
State of Wisconsin versus Ryan Borgward.
On Wednesday,
He currently had left the country. I believe that some cash bail would be appropriate.
The husband and father appeared in a Green Lake County courtroom. Prosecutors charged him with misdemeanor obstruction relating to the weeks-long search for him. A judge gave Borgward a $500 signature bond and ordered him to surrender his passport to.
No, it's a misdemeanor obstruction charge. So, they could give him jail time, but it never usually happens. They probably just give him a big fine and maybe some, I don't know. I'm pretty sure he hasn't been in trouble with the law before. So, but there should be more of a penalty for this. It's just my opinion. This guy here just, I mean, there should be a stupid penalty, like you're just stupid.
To the clerk's office. Borgward disappeared after kayaking on Green Lake this past August and was presumed dead. But the search continued for weeks to the tune of about $40,000 until law enforcement learned that Borgward entered Canada and later flew overseas to Georgia via Paris. Last month, investigators said they made contact with a Russian-speaking woman in a European country who then put Borgward in touch with them. For weeks, investigators
She literally gave him up.
were in contact with him, trying to get him to come home.
What was it in those conversations with Mr. Borgward that made him change his mind?
This guy here, it's like, what am I doing here? Like, this guy is so stupid.
That's going to be up to him someday. But we're not going to release that. But it was one thing that worked in our favor. We brought a dad back on his own accord.
On Tuesday, the sheriff wouldn't say where Borgward entered the U.S., if he's spoken with his family, or what.
Yeah, was that the lady that Sherry Papini? Was she the one who claimed that she saw a child on the highway and that she was kidnapped, and they did a whole thing? I think that was a couple summers ago, or was that the last summer? I mean, she got didn't she get jailed for that? I'm not sure.
Changed.
We didn't give up.
She was eating Cheetos or something like that. I don't know.
And we can stand here today feeling relieved.
The sheriff got emotional at times and thanked the handful of law enforcement agencies, volunteer searchers, divers, and the community.
Borgward is due back in court next month. The sheriff's office says no.
That's what I'm talking about, man. You know, like this poor woman, but at this point now, she's probably better off without him. Yeah, exactly.
Additional arrests are expected in the case. In Green Lake, Bill Miston, Fox 6 News.
And everyone's been talking about this, especially in Green Lake. We talked to people about how this case has affected their community with all the spotlight on this, and if they thought that Borgward would ever come back.
A lot of, again, the chatter thought that he would not come back, that he would.
This is awesome. I have no clue what my job is here. I just drink lots of coffee.
just deal with whatever he had to over there, and
somehow I got to steal this thing here. This is fantastic.
not come back because he didn't want to face any sort of penalties or punishment. And I didn't think he would because he'd have to face his family, which I think is probably the most devastating part of this whole thing.
It was a fascinating.
If you're a news reporter, sometimes you just have to, wonder why you did your job, because these things are just so, it's just weird. I don't know. The whole case is just weird. All right, let's go to this other idiot. I did want to cover this last week, but I forgot. So let me try to share this. We're going to go now to the Anna Walsh case, because Carly Russell, was that her name? Yeah, she claimed she was kidnapped she saw a child running on the side of the highway, and she had gotten kidnapped, and I think that was her, not sure. Anyways, so this was done a few days ago on Court TV, and they've got a trial date now. I think this is set for next October, I think, the trial dates. Anyways, if people don't remember about this one here, this is Brian Walsh. He's accused of unaliving Anna Walsh here. They still haven't found her BODY, but he's been involved in other scams too. So he's charged with unaliving her. This is out of Massachusetts. But the funny thing is this is in the same district as the Karen Reed case, and Sandra. Forget her last name now. The Sandra case. So they want. It's another story, but we'll catch up with this here. Hold on a second here. So this is Brian Walsh here.
23, nearly 2 years later, her body has never been found. Anna's husband, Brian, he is charged with her murder. Key evidence in this case centers around the defendant's online searches the day that Anna disappeared. Investigators say that Walsh searched for the best ways to dispose of a body. And what's the best tool for?
It's probably because the cat hears the other cat. It's got to be a full moon because my cats are going absolutely crazy. Terry Pepin served 18 months. Yeah. I think I remember that one, but I more remember the one last year with Carly Russell. I think that was her name. I'll have to look that up. I think she got like a year or two.
For dismemberment. His trial does begin in October of next year. Court TV crime and justice correspondent.
Holy shit, I was right. So October of next year. Sandra, what the hell is her name now? I can't remember that. I'm having a hard time remembering names tonight. Sandra, why can't I remember her name?
Respondent Matt Johnson has a look at this case against Walsh.
No comment from Brian Walsh after he was charged with the murder of his wife, Anna
Full
Walsh,
moon.
the missing Massachusetts mother of 3 young boys. And while he's not talking, prosecutors are piecing together a timeline of what they say he was doing in the days after her disappearance.
Yeah, I couldn't leave here. I could leave my kids. That wouldn't happen. My kitty makes her rounds again. Tomorrow's a full moon. Is it tomorrow? Looks like a motion hearing in January, a couple of evidentiary hearings throughout the year. My kids would hunt me down if I took too long at the store. Door of the kayak. That's fucking classic.
Appearance.
All right, so this is the time. That was the timeline. Hold on a second.
Charged with the murder of his wife, Anna Walsh.
This guy here is such a dick.
Missing Massachusetts mother of 3 young boys. And while he's not talking, prosecutors are piecing together a timeline of what they say he was doing.
So January 1st, it was right after, I remember it was right after the new year. And I think he didn't even report her missing. Somebody had to keep calling her and asking him to report her missing. And I think it wasn't until January 4th.
In the days after her disappearance. Prosecutors say that Anna Walsh was last seen here at her Cohasset home on New Year's Day. Anna was last seen at home between 4 and 5 a.m. by a family member. Walsh told police that he had slept in that morning, but prosecutors say that he was actually awake and searching disturbing topics on his son's iPad.
At 4:55 a.m. on January 1st, he searched how long before a body starts to smell.
The very next day, more Google searches.
There were also more Google searches on January 2nd. At 12:45 p.m., Pat saw best tool to dismember. At 1:10 p.m., can you be?
We need Mino Dino to get his own channel too, other than the OnlyFans thing. Who's 24? Might have been the kid. Oh, okay. Yeah, this guy here is not fooling anybody. And I know I have to try to be innocent until proven guilty, but I mean, who else could it be? I mean, I know she was having an affair, I think, with somebody, but you know what this, yeah, he was out buying all kinds of stuff. It's just
Charged with murder without a body. At 1:14 p.m., can you identify a body with broken teeth?
Prosecutors say that on January 2nd, Walsh came here to this Home Depot store, located in Rockland, Massachusetts, 9 miles from his house. He spent $450 on cleaning supplies.
Items included cleaning products, mops, brushes.
On January 3rd, prosecutors say Walsh drove to an apartment complex in Abington, 16 miles from his home, where they say surveillance video shows him hoisting a heavy garbage bag into a dumpster. At 4:48 p.m., prosecutors say Walsh drove to a second Abington. And at 5 p.m., investigators say he threw items away into a dumpster in Brockton. Then on January 6th and 7th, police searched the Walsh property in Cohasset. Prosecutors collected a lot of evidence in the basement of this home, including DNA blood evidence and 2 knives. On January 8th, Walsh was arrested for misleading police in his wife's missing person investigation. The next day, he was arraigned and pled not guilty. Then on January 17th, prosecutors announced that he would be charged with her murder. The next day, he was back in court.
The defendant is now before the court charged with murder of his wife, Anna Walsh, as well as disinterring of a body.
A hearing was held in the Brian Walsh case yesterday. So let's bring you that hearing now that took place in Massachusetts.
Let me who was that? That was Sandra Firelight. She had something about Alive. Was that tomorrow? Or I should probably do that in the ticker about that live. If you could repost that again, that'd be great, because I'm going to try to put that in the ticker. All right, hold on a second here. Let me go back to this here.
Good afternoon to Flores, and good afternoon to the defendant.
Yeah, this is Massachusetts, so people are going to talk a little funny here. So he's 49 years old. He's charged with unaliving in January, but he's also on the hook for some sort of art forgery too, or art fake art. So that's why they didn't want him having any bail.
Good to see everyone, and I'm going to go through what I have on my agenda, and then I'll address with you what.
You know, this is another one of these things that this poor woman, Anna Walsh, had to get involved with this piece of dog shit here. And these water bottles are becoming very popular here. They're everywhere in my house.
Whatever, if I can, address with you whatever questions you have. On my agenda today is to talk about the pending discovery disputes. See if we can make some forward progress on that today, either today in the hearing, or if not, ruling in the near future. I want to discuss the
You want to do that?
scheduling order and where I see this case going in terms of progressing forward, and discuss your joint motion that you submitted last week, and a preview for that. I guess I don't see this case going into 2026 for a trial. I think it should be tried in 2025. I'm certainly going to do my part to make sure that it keeps on track to get us there. And that's due to, in large part, the age of the case and its respective complexity, or not, and range of cases like it. So I think that it's reasonable to assume that a case such as this one.
Okay, so she was reported missing on January 4th, 2023 by an employer when she did not show up for work at a real estate firm. And they basically had to force him to file a missing persons report because he didn't want to do it.
Will be tried within 2 years of indictment. On the present schedule, we're looking, or that you suggested, I think it's coming closer to the 3-year mark, and I think that's a little unnecessary. And nothing gets better with time. People's memories don't get any better, and the case isn't going to get any stronger. People's memories fade over time, and so I've been interested in making sure.
I mean, what a beautiful woman. She had to just, they had kids too, I think. We've seen her before, Diane Frenier. I have anyways.
The case gets tried as efficiently as is possible, respecting the numerous issues that have to be addressed. So we'll talk about that. And then I think attenuate to the motions that have been filed. We're going to need another date, or perhaps need another date on the Rule 17 motions, which I appreciate the defense filed to come up, I assume, based on your earlier pleadings, and third parties may be filing objections to those, so we'll get that on the calendar. With regard to the calendar, I'm happy to come down here today. As you know, I have been specially assigned. I want you to know when we're picking dates for future things that it's highly likely you're going to be traveling. I'll try to travel here when I can, because I know that this is where it is. But you should also build in the expectation that you may be traveling. And
I do think they have some DNA on a saw. So I think they do have some evidence against this guy here, but he's got some good lawyers here. So we'll see.
the travel in the next 3 months is going to be to Middlesex County, because that's where I'm going to be assigned for the first quarter. Deliberately not far from here, recognizing that I probably would be seeing you a bit between now and whenever we get.
He told police he last saw Anna on New Year's Eve, and she said she left their house January 1st for a work trip. That's right. She was heading down to Washington she was commuting from Boston to Washington for her job.
Get the case ready for trial. So let me say that, just so that you sort of have an idea of what my knowledge base is, and I've gone back and tried to listen to a number of the hearings on the case, most notably, I guess most importantly, your last hearing before Judge Cannone, when this issue with regard to, I think as Attorney Tipton said, it was an exhaustive or extensive discovery request came up, and you all thought that you could make some headway, and you did make some headway, although there's some disputes that still linger at that time. So I listened to that last hearing. I also went back and listened to a hearing on June 24th, in which the parties informed the court that the trial date was too tentative at that point, at least 6 months ago anyway. I have before me now what are the first round of discovery disputes. Those were docketed, just for the record, and as paper number 18, the defendant's motion for discovery of documents related to the district attorney and law enforcement. That then gets updated by your second motion, which I got, you filed on Friday. That's paper number 32. I've gone through those. I've gone through the Commonwealth's oppositions to those.
Okay, so the police search of couple's home, turned up the bloody broken knife in the basement.
And then also, I received.
They may never find her, though. That's the sad part. I don't think they're ever going to find her. She could be anywhere.
On Friday, paper number 31, which is, I'll call it the federal investigation motion, and the Commonwealth's opposition to that, which I just briefly, I got it just as I was coming down the stairways, and I've read, but I haven't given it much thought. The first thing I wrote before I got here, opposition was do a TUI request. And so I see that at the end of that, that's exactly what we're doing. We'll get to that in a minute. So I've read all the pleadings. I have. This
is what they have. They found internet searches allegedly by Brian of how to dispose of a body, dismember a body. All of this stuff here they found on his computer devices.
Looked at some of the law that I want to look at. There's one thing that I didn't get a chance to look at this morning, but I'll hear from you. And perhaps the best way to do it is to just go item by item and identify. I think it pretty clearly now identifies where there's a variance. If you wish to be heard on any of the orally, I'll certainly give you the opportunity to do that now. If you want to rest on the paper, so that's fine too. I may have questions as we go through. But why don't we all just turn to paper number 32 and go through those now.
All right, so I just wanted to play that. I'll keep following this, but they did come up with a date. I think it's going to be in October-ish, but I will keep an eye on that because that's always going to be probably delayed once or twice. So, but he has another case pending too when it comes to racketeering. So I do want to go to this too. I want to go to because I know this whole thing kind of is strange to me, but they're saying it's not anything to worry about. But they did find another body out here. And this time here, hold on a second here.
In our area and across the state.
All right, so this happened 4 days ago, and I've been following this for, I don't know, a couple of years or so at least. So they found another body in Lady Bird Lake. This time it's a woman. And let's check this out here. But they're not obviously they're not saying this is a SK or not, but I've been keeping an eye on this for a while. So, I mean, who knows?
State. There are renewed concerns after a woman was recently found dead in Lady Bird Lake. Austin police say her body was in the water near Brazos and Cesar Chavez, and that her death is not suspicious, but it's one of several bodies found in or near the water this year. Fox 7 Austin's John Krinjak spoke to some people who hang out on the north side of the lake. They say they intentionally avoid Rainey Street because of the bodies that have been found in that area. But to hear about deaths like this far west, that's sparking renewed concerns about safety.
Very scary, especially given that I live in this neighborhood.
Concern among people who hang out near Lady Bird Lake Monday after the body of a woman was found Sunday morning in the water near Brazos and Cesar Chavez.
A 911 call was received from a kayaker who is paddling upstream and observed some type of object in the water.
Police say it appears the woman was homeless in her 60s and may have been trying to keep warm when she somehow ended up in the water. Detectives do not suspect foul play.
There's nothing that appears to be suspicious. There's no type of connection that they believe.
No connection to the at least 5 other deaths in or near Lady Bird Lake just this year. 2 of those were in this same area on the north side of the lake within a couple blocks of Congress.
Do you think this is weird? This is just, to me, this is just really, really, it's just a really weird thing.
In September, a man was behaving erratically near Cesar Chavez and Nueces. He then went into the water and did not resurface. He was pulled out and pronounced dead. Back in February, a woman's body was found in the water about 20 feet from the north shore between South First and Congress. There's no indication these deaths are suspicious either, but for those who live nearby, it's unnerving.
Now that you mentioned the body was found in this area, maybe I will double think about like just walking late at night here.
3 other deaths around the lake.
So let me see. We've gone over this hundreds of times, but I'm going to just do it again because it's, my life. So hold on a second. Rainy Street right here. So this is a huge lake. It's basically part of the Colorado River that comes down into this lake here. And this was obviously named after the president's wife here. But here's Rainy Street right here, and everything seems to be happening in this general area. Let's do this here. Hold on a second. Here's Rainy Street here. So I don't want to say all of them have happened here, but the majority of them here have been going on right in this area here. This is a huge, this is Austin, Texas here. So this is a massive city. So there's, a lot of people here, a lot of, you can probably expect a few, voluntary unalivings here in the water. And there's a bridge here too somewhere right here. So, it's possible, but it's just something that I'm, it's weird to me that all of this stuff is happening. And now there's another woman that was found. So let's hold on a second. Go back here. I just think it's interesting. I think it's weird. Trying to get the amount of people. Hold on a second. Go ahead.
This year were also ruled not suspicious. In April, a fisherman spotted a person floating in the water at the east end of the lake near Craig Field. In July, a man was suffering from blunt force trauma on the trail near Rainey Street. The man was pronounced dead a short time later. And in September, a body was found along a trail near the lake off Pleasant Valley.
It's shocking, obviously. I don't know. It's like, I don't know, do I feel safe to come and walk?
Police have taken great pains in recent years to try and put the rumors of a serial killer to rest.
There's no serial killer at this time.
Nothing has come to light that would indicate that there is a serial killer.
But as the deaths continue, many just aren't convinced.
I feel like they are connected. It's giving the serial killer vibes in the cities.
Milam County man is accused of murdering his own father. Michael Donaldson Jr. is being held on $950,000 bond. Deputies were called to a home Tuesday night on Country Road 374 in Milano, where they found the body of Michael Donaldson Sr. So far, no other information.
Thanks, Mustang. I really appreciate that. Dean, are you an SK? If you are, you'll have to tell me. Otherwise, it's entrapment. I don't like cereal. Trying to figure out how many. So is it 12 now?
Has been released about the case. A SWAT situation in Southeast Austin ended peacefully. Fox 7 Austin's Jessica Rivera.
Right. So that's that. I just wanted to bring that to people's attention there. It's just really weird. I don't think that's. I guess I'll keep following it because it's just bizarre. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing that. And then we're going to go to this one here. Charlotte be popping in soon. Yeah, hopefully. Coughing up blood wasn't feeling. Who's coughing up blood? Where Barbara is. Yeah, hopefully Barbara's okay. I know she's been doing a lot of work. Barbara's been doing a lot of work on what the hell am I doing? Okay, so I want to go. Let's stop sharing this here. We'll do the missing person case of the week here, and then we'll all right, so we'll read this first here. What's the matter with Charles? You okay, buddy? All right, so this is the case of Sia Taylor. You sure you're just sick? All right, so Sierra Taylor, I forget, I think that's how you pronounce that. Not sure if anybody's ever heard about this case here, but this is the missing person case of the week here. We'll play a little audio in a second. So this is a summary here on February 6, 2020 at approximately 4 p.m. Sierra Taylor left a residence on Cowart Road in Plant City, Florida after dropping her boyfriend off. Sierra's car was later found at approximately 7 p.m. Assuming that's the same day, abandoned on the east Trapnell Road, just west of Jap Tucker Road in Plant City. Her car was found unlocked and running on the rail. So her car was idling on the railroad tracks. So she's 5'6", 170 pounds, female, multiracial, red hair, brown eyes. She disappeared at the age of 28 years. So this is, 4-year-old case here. Adult physical, she has the following tattoos: an infinity symbol on the left side of her upper chest, 2 X's on the back of her left shoulder, and a rose on the inside of her forearm, and a sun on her upper right thigh, and a ladybug on the outside of her left calf leg. All right, so let's, I think it's this one here. Hold on here. I had this all set up. Now I'm all fucked up here. Give me a second. I'll pull this up here in a second. Might be on the other one. Hold on a second. I forget where I put these things, so pardon the interruption here. Okay, so I got it right here. We'll do this one. This was done 13 years ago. I'm sorry, 3 years ago. So let's play this one here. This is from TV. Actually, we'll do this one here. All right, so here we go. So this is coming from News Nation here. Sorry about that. I had to re-find it. Let's get rid of this. We'll do this.
That we cover each week come from the public. We spend a lot of time talking to fans.
So this was the most, well, not the most recent, but this was done 2 years ago here.
Family and friends and police investigating these missing persons cases in the hopes that it leads to some answers. In a moment, you will have a chance to join in the conversation and ask any questions or offer your comments that you have about tonight's case. So be listening very carefully as we lay out the details over the next several minutes. Tonight's case takes us to Florida. We are focusing on the disappearance of this young woman. Her name is Kaya Taylor. She was 28 years old when she disappeared in February of 2020. Brooke Schaefer spoke to Kaya's mom, and she will be joining us in a moment live to discuss what more she has learned in this case. But first, here is Kaya's story.
This one, this is her 19th birthday.
Kaya Taylor's mom had.
Oh, I'm sorry. I butchered her name. Kaya. It's Kaya Taylor. Hey, Kenny Powers, how are you? Good to see you. All right, I'm trying to look up the, here we go.
had to put
Kaya,
away
so
most
it's technically Kaya Taylor. Very good.
of her daughter's pictures.
And this was her just goofing off one day when she was 15.
Looking at them is still too painful, but every day she prays she'll find out what happened to her daughter.
Just today, let today be the day that we have answers.
Kaya Taylor grew up in this house in Dade City, Florida, about 45 minutes outside of Tampa. Her mom, Kanitha Taylor, said Kaya was fearless.
Kaya was a unique personality. She was big as life, smile, light up a room. She met no strangers. Like everybody always loved to be around her.
In February 2020, Kaya was 28 years old. Her mom admits Kaya would sometimes hang out with the wrong crowd. She was living with a boyfriend and a friend about 30 minutes from home in Plant City, Florida. On February 6, 2020, her mom says Kaya and that boyfriend got into a fight.
She was supposed to be going to one of the best friend's house because she was upset and she had called her and was crying.
But Kaya never showed up at her friend's house. Days later, a friend found her car on the side of the road near some train tracks. Seemingly everything Kaya owned was inside.
Everything, her clothes, her purse, her ID, her social security card, her bank card, everything she owned, her phone.
When you saw that, is that when you knew
Yes.
something's wrong?
Yes, because she never goes anywhere without her phone. She doesn't go anywhere without the other stuff either, but the phone was the main thing that set me to think something's wrong.
Her family filed a missing persons report with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. And that's when Kaya's family found out an officer and a deputy had actually spotted Kaya's car days before that, running and on the train tracks, but no one inside. We tried to talk to the lead detective on Kaya's case, but the Sheriff's Office said Kaya's disappearance is an active investigation. They pointed us instead to a podcast they put together about the case in August 2020. This is Detective Joseph Florio.
We did a thorough search of the vehicle, evidence processing wise. We recovered some fingerprints, but they were all known people to have been in the car. I know specifically that we were able to identify Kaya Taylor's fingerprints in the car.
The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office says they've aggressively looked for Kaya Taylor. Every lead met with a dead end.
Basically, most of the detectives in the homicide section at some point have touched this case, whether it be going out looking for surveillance video. We've knocked on neighbors.
Okay, so hold on a second. I want to get rid of that. I don't know why that keeps circulating there. It's good to see everybody here in the chat, especially some of the new people. I really appreciate it. Let's see here. Let's go to this here. So this is where she was. This is where she lived, I believe, here. Left the rest. So she lived on Cowart Road in Plant City, Florida. So this is Cowart Road right here. And then her car was, this is East Trapnell Road here. And then this is Jap Tucker Road here. So just west of Jap Tucker Road. So, which is right here. So it would be right in here somewhere, just west of, they said just west of Jap Tucker Road. So right in here, this is where her car, the train track, there's train tracks around here somewhere. So just west of that. I wonder if these are the train tracks here. I guess I could find that. But anyways, that's where her car was found. And I'll see if I can find the railroad tracks here at some point. So let's go back to this here. Curious Contrarian's here. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. Where was I? Right here.
Doors. There were some leads that came out of that.
Just a quick thing here. There was a weird tornado alert in San Francisco, California this morning, early yesterday morning, which is bizarre. Good to see you, though, Curious Contrarian.
Traffic survey. Unfortunately, they haven't really come to any type of conclusion on it. They pretty much hit a dead end.
In an email, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office said they've sifted through hours of surveillance video and interviewed everyone in Kaya's life, including her boyfriend.
Was he the last person to have seen your daughter
Yes.
alive?
And he admits to that. From when he saw her to when the timeline of the car was found, he's the last person to see her alive.
Do we have a guesstimate of how many years RA is going to get? Let's see here. Let's go back to this here.
What do detectives say about that? Is he a suspect?
Yes. And no one's been ruled out, but he's definitely a suspect.
Nobody ruled out, but still no answers on Kaya's whereabouts. Her mom fears the worst.
We just want to know what happened. More so than how it happened or who did it. It's more so let's have closure. You know, we'll worry about that later, of who done it and why.
But let today be the day, huh?
Let today be the day.
And Marnie, when I sat down with Kaya's mom, she told me the worst part really in all of this is the not knowing. She said, but she knows one thing for sure. She said her daughter would never leave her like this. Marnie?
Somebody out there, Brooke, knows something, and the hope is by doing this story, bringing it into the national spotlight, it sparks someone's memory from 2 years ago. So now is the time I want to welcome in anyone online to join in the conversation and the discussion. You're welcome to ask us the questions you have and the answers that we have. We will offer those up. Brooke, I am curious about the boyfriend. What are police saying, and has he ever been a person of interest? Is there an alibi in his case?
Well, unfortunately, those were the questions that we wanted to ask, and we reached out to the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. We wanted to talk to that lead detective, and we weren't able to ask those questions. The Sheriff's Office instead pointed us to a podcast that they put together a few months after Kaya disappeared back in August 2020. And in that podcast, I've listened to it now several times to really understand their investigation, where it stood at that point. They mentioned that they talked to the boyfriend, they've talked to the friend, they've talked to some parents as well, neighbors, and nothing has really turned up. According to Kaya's mom, though, this boyfriend is a suspect. He was questioned. Kaya's mom said that she has tried reaching out to the boyfriend, and he hasn't really been very helpful to her. I will also say that we also tried to find him. We weren't able to do so. So really a lot of questions surrounding that boyfriend. But at this point, detectives really saying that every lead, everybody they've tried to talk to has all kind of gone to a dead end. So now they're hoping that somebody who knows something will come forward instead.
Yeah, and people are asking online, Brooke, where is the boyfriend now? You tried to find him, but to no avail?
Yeah, I asked the mom if she had a contact number for him. She said she didn't have a phone number for him anymore. We tried to track him down, weren't able to. According to mom, this boyfriend has, continued to live his life. But again, according to mom, hasn't been very responsive when she has tried to reach out for help. And she said that's something that is very frustrating for her. I think we can all, understand that. She says this guy admits he was the last person to see Kaya Taylor alive right before she really just seemingly vanished. And for Kaya's mom, she said for him to not be as helpful as she might want him to be, that is incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, indeed. I know that you spoke extensively with Kaya's mom. I want to play.
Those cars in the background are so annoying.
Another portion of the interview that we didn't share in that piece right there, talking about some of the physical abuse that she suspected in her relationship. Let's listen.
Well, I think something's happened to her physically because of the choices she was making and the domestic violence that was involved in her and that boyfriend.
I think this is like the biggest thing, right? So the circumstances of its disappearance, according to Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office press release, it was around 4 p.m. on February 6, 2020, when she dropped her boyfriend off at his home on Colorado Road in Plant City, Florida, just a few blocks from a call center where she was. So she worked at a call center. A few hours later, around 7 o'clock p.m. that same day, so 3 hours later, her black 2000 Toyota Solaris was found abandoned about a mile away. I'm just reading this on railroad tracks at East Trapnell Road. The engine was still running. Her belongings, including her cell phone and debit card, were in the car. Actually, let me share this here. Because sometimes these things don't do any justice here. Let's, I'll share this here. Thought with the floor alive and was glad. Let me ask you a question. Do you think it's possible that the floor fire isn't an arson? Hold on a second. Let's okay. All right. So a 2000 Toyota Solaris was found abandoned about a mile away on railroad tracks in East Trapnell Road. The engine was still running, and her belongings, including her cell phone and debit card. So anytime I hear like a cell phone was left behind and a debit card, that's telling me that she didn't just take off. The officer and deputy who responded to someone's call about the vehicle decided to move Taylor's car. Well, okay, hold on a second. The officer and deputy who responded to someone's call about the vehicle decided to move Taylor's car off the railroad. Oh, that sucks. Why did they do that? And left it on the side of the road where it sat for 3 days. There you go. Oh, people are so stupid. You don't touch that car's evidence. Oh my God, it's idiots. 2000 to Solaris. So let's stop sharing this for a second. This is what I hate about StreamYard. You got to get out of things. PJ's here. Hey, Lighting the Way Home. Good to see you. Sorry, I didn't see you come in. Hold on a second. Share the screen. So this is a 2000 Toyota Solaris right here. I don't want to say it was white. It's always a white car. But that's what it looked like. Toyota Canada. Interior here. I want to know why they touched this car, though. That's so stupid. 3 weeks after she went missing, her shoes were discovered on a drainage pipe alongside the road near the railroad tracks where her car had been found. Her shoes. Okay. Here. She's awesome. Lighting the Way Home is awesome. I hate when they do that. Why do they do stuff like that? Why do they mess with cars and stuff like that? That's They did that in another case in Michigan. They fuck with the car, and it makes me angry.
So she would never just leave me like that.
Did mom elaborate, Brooke, at all on what she was getting at there with domestic violence in her past?
Well, she did say that as far as this boyfriend is concerned, she said she never really liked him. She just kind of had a feeling that he was up to no good, if you will. So, and she said she expressed that to her daughter, that they had gotten into a couple of arguments about it. Kaya knew that mom didn't really approve of this boyfriend. And she just really just overall said that he just didn't really treat her right. And she mentioned that there was some domestic violence involved as well. Something I do want to add, though, at this point, because we weren't able to ask detectives if he is, in fact, a suspect, at this point, we decided not to name him because there are a lot of questions about his involvement that we weren't.
Lighting the Way Home has got a great channel, too. She's awesome. She always does really good work. Y'all got to start doing night stuff because I try to catch as many lives as I possibly can, but this time of the year, it's really difficult because it seems like it's dark all the freaking time for me anyways, because I work nights. But PJ's got a great channel.
Weren't able to get answers to at this point.
Right. We just don't have that evidence, and we certainly don't want to incriminate anyone to their involvement in this. I am curious, though. Let's talk a little bit, Brooke, about the car. Any signs of foul play or any other evidence left behind? Because it was on these train tracks in a pretty remote area, and the way that it was left there, alarming for all who saw it.
Yeah, the car is definitely a big part of this. I mean, everything left behind in the car is what prompted her mom to say something isn't right here. So the car definitely a big piece of this whole case. But really, unfortunately, there was not a lot of anything suspicious inside the car. Really, even to the point that mom says sheriff's deputies found this car even days before a family friend found it on the side of the road. So sheriff's deputies found the car running on train tracks. Kaya Taylor nowhere to be found. But the sheriff's deputies, I guess, didn't suspect anything too off other than the fact that there was a running car on train tracks. And so they just decided to.
It's JCN. Good to see JCN in here. She's got a great channel too. Feel free to post that JCN if you want. She does great work. I was on there again the other day. Sometimes I have to lurk because I'm just either waking up or just getting ready to leave for work. I was on something else channel last night too at the end, but I did catch the replay. All right, what was I doing? Hold on a second. I'm going to do this here. I do want to do something here, but I'll keep playing this while I do that. Hold on a second. Right.
To move it to the side of the road and turn it off. And then a few days later, family, friends were able to find this car and get inside. That's when they noticed, everything was there. Her clothes, her social security card, her cell phone. The cell phone's really the key that mom was like, something is not right here.
Right, and that's peculiar. I mean, a car left running near train tracks with all of the identification inside. You wonder if precious moments were missed and lapsed before the family was able to find it. I want to play another piece of the conversation, Brooke, that you had with mom about what she thinks happened to her daughter.
As her mom, what do you think happened to Kaya?
I think.
Yes, she's awesome. PJ's awesome. She has a lot of great stuff. One of the first cases I learned from Kendall. You mean Kenda? Kendall? Who else? Dago's good too. True Crime with Dago's good too. Absolutely. It's a full moon. So I have scrolling across the bottom here, and I was actually able to just copy and paste this. So that's the phone number if you have any information there. There you go, Ella. I don't even make videos. I just talk. This is the one I wanted right here. You have over 1,000 videos. That's awesome. Yeah, anytime, we can get all these great creators to keep creating, because it's a lot of cases, and some of these people need answers, man. It's always good to get the the word out. Southern Gal is just amazing with the missing and all her cases. She's just great work. Of course, Mr. Steve, just keeps going on and on and on.
She's passed. I just, in my heart of hearts as a mother, just knowing her like I did, she wouldn't do this. She wouldn't just walk away from her life.
Brooke, it is so heartbreaking to hear the mom losing hope, because in so many of these cases, hope is all that many of these families have to hold on to. How is the mom doing, and what is she doing to continue to try to keep Kaya's story out there?
Yeah, well, she said that, they have a Facebook group, they have an Instagram page as well, and they typically post every so often, probably once a month at this point. She said they post something really just to keep it out there, keep Kaya's name out there. They also the town that Kaya grew up in is a pretty small town. So she said that, everybody in town still knows the story, knows Kaya. They grew up with her. And so people definitely know the story. It's just, unfortunately, it seems like every lead that detectives get, it just kind of comes to a dead end. But yeah, mom told me, she said, the first year she was really holding on to hope. She said it was incredibly difficult to do anything. And now that we've passed the 2-year mark and then some, she said she just knows her daughter. And she said that if her daughter was...
Yep, Southern Gal is amazing. Everything she touches is gold. She does great work. Dago's a good guy too. Yep, Dago's awesome. Like I said, it's a lot of these cases, like a lot of these channels. I watch a lot of the replay stuff too, especially when I'm driving around forever at night. Southern Gal is great. JCN is awesome too. Got to get her to 1,000 subs. She does really good work. Anytime I can promote, great, good creators, it's what I'm here for. Get the word out, get at least some spotlight on some of these cases that just don't go noticed.
Still alive, that she would have figured out a way to contact her. Yeah. She said, this is not like Kaya to not have called me. And so that's why she just says in her heart of hearts that.
I mean, it does happen. People do disappear voluntarily. But when people leave behind belongings like that, like credit cards, cell phones, cars running, chances are that the percentage, in my opinion, kind of goes down a little bit when it definitely seems like there's foul play, but they touched a freaking car. They moved the car. So any possible fingerprints on the door handles or steering columns or, shifters is pretty much gone. So that sucks.
That she thinks that her daughter's no longer alive. But even without that, she says at this point, she just wants to know what happened. It's the waiting game. It's the...
Hello, Astro from space. Good to see you. Just going over the missing person case of the week. This is Kaya Taylor here. I think I've heard about this case before. It's just, there's so many of them that 2020. Yeah, so that's right. Probably when I started to get going here. So it's possible. There's a lot of missing people in Florida.
Not knowing. It's the no answers. And she said every day she prays, let today be the day.
I mean, just the agony in in not knowing and having to live this nightmare every single day when you wake up is just horrible. Brooke, I have another question for you. This is again on YouTube. Someone is wondering, are there any other suspects? Could you glean that information from the podcast or what authorities have shared?
It doesn't sound like there are any other suspects. And I'll even say, though, too, in that podcast, detectives didn't say if there was, in fact, a suspect, but they said that they interviewed and spoke with basically everybody in this area. It is a pretty remote rural area where they found her car, but they said they knocked on neighbors' doors. They talked to the boyfriend, they talked to that friend, and, you know, they've gone through hours of surveillance video. And unfortunately, it just hasn't turned up into anything. And so, yeah, unfortunately, that was a big question we wanted to ask. Are there suspects? You know, are they really looking at somebody in particular? But the sheriff's office said that really everything that can be said was said in that podcast, and that's what they just kept referring us to.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note too, on some of these missing cases that we cover, police will engage with us and share information. In others, they're a little bit more tight-lipped. It doesn't mean that they're not actively investigating. It just means that they're keeping it a little closer to the vest, but it can be frustrating for a family who wants to get answers. A couple other comments. We've got a comment here from Crazy Coda Bear, says an empty car running on the tracks and the cops didn't see anything wrong with that, question mark. So I think they sort of think, yeah, what happened? A question though here for you, Brooke, was the area searched with trauma or cadaver dogs starting from the car in the house? That another question from online tonight.
Yeah, in that podcast, again, that I keep referring to, the lead detective said that they did bring out blood.
Yeah, I did it. I actually did it. Hold on a second. So this must be, hold on a second. I took a little ride and I think I found, so here's the railroad tracks. So, whoops. So this is East Trapnell Road here. And let's bring the, all right, so her car was found abandoned about a mile away on railroad tracks at East Trapnell Road. Okay, so they found her car basically right in here somewhere. I wonder if is there any camera? Do they have cameras inside these? I don't think so. They probably don't, right? They probably don't have any cameras inside. They should. Inside the railroad track lights here. But this is, you know, they're not going to get a lot of footage here from. There's her reward thing there. So she must have been found. The car must have been found right in here somewhere. And they're not going to get a lot of, you know, I've been driving up and down this road here. There's not a lot of places for security cameras here. There's no lights, traffic lights. So, this is the part of Florida that very few people see here. This is, you know, pretty green here. But these are the tracks here, and that was her. I can't believe I did this. This is amazing. She could be anywhere. She could have gone anywhere. Somebody could have. And this was 7 o'clock at night in February, so it would have been dark. So, all right. So let's go back to this here. Where the hell am I?
Bloodhounds at one point.
This is actually a good question here. Was she searched for with trace trauma or cadaver drugs?
To search the area where they found that car. Again, as I mentioned, it was a very rural area. And so there was a lot of grass and all of that. So they brought out dogs. That didn't turn up anything suspicious, they said. They also printed out hundreds of flyers, apparently, with her picture and information. Her family is offering a reward. And I also want to.
Is that the car there? That must be the car. So it wasn't a white car.
That car. Again, as I mentioned, it was a very rural area. And so there was a lot of grass and all.
Yeah, this is exactly where we just were. So this is the exact location here.
All of that. So they brought out dogs. That didn't turn up anything suspicious.
Can I find that car, you think?
They said. They also.
Let's see if I can find that car.
Printed out hundreds of flyers, apparently, with her picture and information. Her family is.
Does it look like there's any damage to this car underneath here?
Printed out hundreds of flyers, apparently, with her picture and information. Her family is offering a reward. And I also want to go back to that comment about the car. And that is something that Kaya's mom said really kind of sits with her and is upsetting to her as well. She said that nobody called her. That according to Kaya's mom, these deputies moved the car off of the train tracks and just kind of left it there. And then it was a friend who was looking for Kaya who spotted the car pulled off on the side of the road. And so mom says that is incredibly frustrating, especially in cases like this. As we've heard, those initial hours are crucial. So mom says, you know, she's really disappointed.
So, let's see here. I got this. You always got to be kind of speculative if this is actually the car, but this is the car here, I think. Episode, this is somebody else's channel here, but that's. I don't know if that's actually how it was found. Woman missing after car found on train tracks. It's a two-door. It's hard to see if this is actually the car. Let the doors open there. But it was running, so it was idling. She was just there. So, all right, go back to this here. But I did find the car, I think.
That, you know, they missed out on the.
You would think that police officers would know not to touch the freaking car. Why did they move the car? They're so dumb.
Those initial hours, and you know, maybe the outcome would still be the same. Maybe they still wouldn't have any answers, but at least they would have gotten a chance to get started, get a head start in looking for her. So, because by the time.
So the engine was still running. Her belongings, including a cell phone and debit card, were in the car, so it wasn't a robbery. The officer and deputy who responded to someone's call about the vehicle, they decided to move Taylor's car off of the railroad tracks and left it on the side of the road where it sat for 3 days. Some people are just freaking stupid, man. It's just, you can't do it. You can't, I mean.
Time they found the car, it had already been several days. Right. And so it's very frustrating for the family, of course.
What did mom say about Kaya's state of mind leading up to her disappearance? I mean, were there any other red flags that she had communicated, things that become clear in hindsight, right? Comments that she may have made?
She did mention that, you know, Kaya had sort of started to run in with the wrong crowd. She had started experimenting with drugs. But she still said, you know, Kaya was a good girl who would always reach out to her mom. And, you know, she even saw her daughter a couple of days before her disappearance. So she would still touch base. But mom did say that day, apparently there was some sort of fight between Kaya and her boyfriend. She doesn't know what the fight was about. She only knows that Kaya called a friend, and that friend said, okay, that's.
I think it's the boyfriend because they would have alibied him. If he didn't have an alibi, then they probably would have. It's always good to see everybody here. Astro from space, thank you so much for coming in. But you would have think they would have alibied him by now, right? If he wouldn't have had an alibi, he'd probably be in prison. But I don't think it's the boyfriend. Could be.
It's fine. Come over to my house. I'm at work right now, but come over to my house. And Kaya never showed up. And so I guess, they tried calling her and she wasn't answering. And that's when that friend went out and started looking for her.
Tried calling her, she wouldn't answer because the phone's in the car. I mean, the phone, they just said they left her phone. My God, this people are stupid in this case. Cell phone was in the car, so.
Her and came across her car. And that's kind of really what started all of this. But mom just said,
It's like 3 days. They should have dusted footprints on the phone, inside the car, door handle. But, if the car's moved, the first thing you're going to touch if you move the car is the steering wheel, the shifter, the inside door handle to get out of the car. So all of that stuff, you may be able to lift a print.
She thinks there was some kind of fight, but she doesn't really know what it was about, what the conversation was about, any of that.
Final question for you, Brooke, from another viewer online who has joined us. They're asking if police are hopeful that Kaya will be found alive. I know you mentioned it's an active investigation.
It happens a lot. So many cases, especially missing person cases. That's the first thing they do is they move the freaking car. God, then stop doing that. You can't do that. It happened with that case in Michigan that we went over. They moved the car. I don't know. The police hopeful it's she could be alive, but I doubt it.
What more can you share? Yeah, police haven't said whether or not they are hopeful, but they are definitely asking for help still. They said this is very much still an active investigation. They said that as soon as the missing persons report was filed, that they started an aggressive search for Kaya. And, at this point, law enforcement, family, friends, really.
I don't think it was a robbery because, if it was a robbery, they would have taken, her, I'm pretty sure it is. They could probably still do stuff with separating. They can separate DNA stuff pretty good these days, but my opinion, the phone's important. Obviously, it wasn't a robbery. They would have taken, her wallet. Her wallet was there. Debit card, the cell phone included, and then debit card were in the car. So her belongings. So that's telling me that she didn't just take off. But they could have, gotten some valuable information off the door handle, the any of the tire impressions if she was part of a road rage type thing next to the car, but I don't know.
Everybody asking for somebody to come forward. Kaya's mom said, somebody knows something. She didn't just vanish. So somebody knows something.
Yeah, that's what you usually hope this happens, where somebody usually comes up with a tip down the road where they don't have to worry about, being, hurt themselves. So they'll come up with a tip down the road. But it's been 4 years now, almost 5. So this isn't looking good here.
and they're just waiting for that one person to call. And, like I said, they're offering a reward.
I mean, it also doesn't look like there was a lot of, damage to the car, maybe a road rage type incident, but it doesn't seem like there was any damage to the back of the car. But who knows if that's her car? But it is. It looks like it is.
People can call anonymously. They're just really holding on to hope. Kaya's mom again saying, let today be the day they get answers.
No, I pray that it is. Kaya disappeared in February of 2020. Brooke Schaefer on the case. Give our best to Kaya's mom. I can't even begin to relate.
I mean, that's a pretty. I mean, just like I said, this is one of the places in Florida that you don't really get. I mean, Florida's like some parts of Florida are really, wooded like this here. Trees aren't very big, but this is definitely not beach here. This is yeah, I'll keep up with this here, but moving that car is, to me, that's they do it all the time too. It's like, why? You would think that they would know by now to impound the car immediately. That's a valuable piece of evidence. It could be the only piece of evidence they have. I mean, it's so anyways, all right, so let's go on to something else here. I want to go to okay. Anyways, I got the thing scrolling across the bottom here. This Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office for her. I'll try to keep up with that this case here, but this interview was done a while ago, 2 years ago, so hopefully they have something else coming out pretty soon here. Let me go to this. I want to go to the stop sharing that. We'll go to Susan Simpson case here. So this guy's got guilt written all over his face too, even though everybody's innocent until proven guilty. But I don't know if people have been following this case, the Susan Simpson case here. I've been following this since it began here. So investigative reporter Sig Christensen of the San Antonio Express News joins Banfield to discuss the disappearance of the alleged unaliving of Susan Simpson by her husband, Brad Simpson. And again, he's just suspect, hasn't been charged with anything yet. Well, he's been charged with unaliving her, but he hasn't been convicted. So authorities said they have found DNA belonging to Susan Simpson on a motorized handsaw. So kind of like a powered handsaw here, owned by Brad Simpson, which he allegedly tried to hide when police searched for her. This new evidence comes from a recently unsealed indictment and helps explain why Brad Simpson was charged with Susan Simpson's unaliving over a month ago. And I think they got a gag order in this case now too. So let's check this out here.
At SCI Huntington, apparently. You probably know that we've been on this New York CEO murder for days and nights on end, but there is other news that has kept right on happening and other big stories that we've been following, mysteries that remain unsolved. And here's one of the biggest.
Yeah, this guy here isn't fooling me. This, anytime you start hearing they're finding DNA on saws and stuff, it's like, who else could it be, right? Like, it could be anybody. This guy here, lying his way through life. I mean, this guy's such a low-life piece of dog shit. And, if you go into the background of these people, it stares you right in the face that these people are just can't trust them with anything.
Appearance and alleged murder of Suzanne Simpson by her husband in Texas. There are now apparently, authorities say, DNA samples belonging to Suzanne found on a motorized.
I mean, like I said, everybody's innocent, I guess, until proven guilty, but I don't have to believe that. It's a free country, man. This guy, in my opinion, this guy's pretty guilty.
Handsaw belonging to that husband, Brad Simpson. A handsaw that he allegedly
Another woman here, very good, very attractive. Just met the wrong person, the wrong people. She could have done so much more without this guy, and yet here she is, probably unalived.
Tried to hide when police came looking for Suzanne. And this comes from a newly unsealed indictment, goes a long way towards solving at least one of the mysteries in this case. Why was Brad charged with Suzanne's murder more than a month ago before police even had a body? And P.S., they still don't have a body. The real estate agent and mother of four hasn't been seen alive or in any other manner since a neighbor saw her in a physical fight with Brad on October 6th, right before she vanished. I'm joined once again by Sig Christensen, investigative reporter for the San Antonio.
How do you explain this? But evidence of a body on a power tool. Like, how do you, I don't know.
Express News. Sig, there's been so much evidence already. I mean, video of him driving around with all this incriminating stuff in the back of his flatbed, tarps and bleach and all sorts of things being purchased. But this seems to me, DNA, Suzanne's DNA on the handsaw, this seems to me to be the most incriminating. Am I wrong?
It doesn't look good, but we don't know what kind of DNA it is. So is it a fingerprint, or is it perhaps something more, blood or bone, things that you could expect to show up like that if it were used in a crime. And so we don't know. And I don't even know what kind of power saw that is. And I would really be interested in knowing that, because that would tell you something about what he was doing with it. And we don't know why he concealed it, but he concealed that power saw as well as an automatic weapon. He did not want the authorities to find those things, and he concealed them after those guys started their investigation.
Did that make a difference for the family members of Suzanne? I mean, they were so muted about their reaction to Brad's arrest. But now, hearing about DNA on a buzzsaw, did that change the equation for them?
I doubt it. One of the interesting things from early on is that one of his brothers was basically begging him to come clean about what happened. It's as if they made an assumption off the bat that he did something wrong. And that raises a lot of questions for me. Was he a problem before this? And who knew about that if he was? I mean, their reaction was indeed muted. It was.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the good thing, right? You don't have to have a body in every case, because as technology gets better, so don't, sometimes criminals get better, but you don't have to have, 30, 40 years ago, yeah, you probably needed a body, but nowadays with hopefully he doesn't get bail, because he'll just no, this guy here, it's just another one of those average pieces of shit. Just faked his way through life pretty much, and when things got tough, he decided to get violent and took her life. It just sucks.
Wasn't shocked. They weren't defending him. It was almost as if maybe they weren't surprised.
So he appeared in court this week, I guess on December 9th, not looking particularly great. And he's supposed to appear next Thursday. What's the appearance on Thursday about?
That's going to be a bond modification hearing, from what I understand. It'll be very interesting to see where the judge goes with that. There's also a request from
kind of like the Susan Morphew case. It's pretty evident, right? I mean, they kept waiting and waiting and waiting to find her body. Finally, sheer luck, they found her, and they found her body. laced with horse tranquilizer, and they still haven't arrested the guy. You know, it's just, what are you going to do? It's like, you know, you can't do anything. You got to let it have its process. You know, you got to let it, you know, what are you going to do?
Simpson's attorney, his court-appointed attorney, to throw the indictment out because he says it's too vague. I don't know what will happen. It's impossible to predict what the judge will do, but he did inject a gag order, which applies to the police, prosecutors, and witnesses. And those are all people, by the way, who haven't been talking anyhow. So I'm not sure that really moves the dime very much. It may have just been something he did as a formality. But the judge seems to be indicating that he's going to run a tight ship here.
I dare.
Nobody hates gag orders more than I do. But, you know, it's impossible to have a gag order. I mean, look how well it worked in the Delphi case. It's just, you know, this day and age with social media and, you know, done it detectives and all of this stuff here, gag orders just don't do anything.
Say that, you know, the missing wife's DNA on the handsaw is not going to speak well to modification of bond in a first-degree murder or even a second-degree murder in a death penalty state. Sig, keep an eye on it for us. I so appreciate your updates. Thank you for this tonight.
Thanks for watching.
All right, so she's they'll probably never find her, unfortunately. I mean, they could. I mean, I shouldn't say never, but it's going to be really hard to find her. They've already searched basically every, you know, didn't they search like a couple of landfills and all of that stuff here? What might happen is if what state is that? Is that where is that? That's Texas. So there's a DP in Texas. So if they do a DP on him, they may get him to talk before trial. There may be some sort of a, you know, some sort of a plea deal, and then he may give up to where she is, and then Beer Jew is here. Texas, yeah. So that's DP state, right? So they're going to try to probably coerce him into giving up the location. All right, want to go to Hannah Kobayashi, and then we're going to do one more thing, and then we'll get out of here. How's that sound? All right, so let's go here. So this case just, you know, one of those bizarre, but I think that there's more to the story than people are letting on. I think she might have been having trouble in the family. I'm not sure. And she decided she just wanted to take off and get away from it all. But what do I know? I don't know anything. So here's the latest on the bizarre disappearance here.
Kobayashi has been found safe and well after she vanished on November 11th when she missed her connecting flight from Los Angeles to New York. The case has gripped headlines over the past month as a major search effort was launched, bringing with it many twists and turns. It began days before the 30-year-old was reported missing on November the 11th after missing her connecting flight in Los Angeles that would take her to New York. On November 8th, she flew from Hawaii to LA, where she was due to get her flight to New York at 11 p.m., which would arrive at JFK at 7 a.m. the following day.
So we know all of this stuff here. And then she went basically gone. She left the next day, November 12th, all the way down to Mexico.
But she failed to make it to the Big Apple and was instead spotted at a bookshop an hour away from LAX. That day, she made 2 Venmo payments to a man and a woman who were not known to her family. Concerns for her well-being were not raised among her family until November 10th, when they received a series of bizarre text messages from Kobayashi, claiming, among many things, that she was scared someone was stealing her money and her identity. Later that day, Kobayashi was seen at a Nike event in LA. Her family reported her missing on November 11th after her phone data showed that she was back at the airport in LA, where she...
I couldn't figure out why she was doing that. I couldn't figure out why she was sending those messages to the family, but she did not want them to know where she was. So it's like, because if it wasn't for that, then she was kidnapped. It's like putting two and two together. If she's telling him, I changed my mind, I'm doing all these other things, and now she's obviously trying to get the family off of her trail, right? She wanted to go away from them. That to me, that's what that was telling me. That's just my opinion, but
shared a photo from the Nike event and turned off her phone. On November 12th, unbeknownst to her family, Kobayashi got a bus from Union Station to San Diego, where she crossed the Mexican border alone into Tijuana. As she was taking this solo trip, back in LA, volunteers took to the streets to search for her as her family arrived in the city from.
Should I do a live after Christmas? We should definitely get together and do the New Year's thing for sure. That would be a fantastic thing. Christmas, sure. I'll probably do one next Saturday night after that.
Hawaii to lead efforts. They were informed the following day
From Border Dash.
that she had last been seen in downtown LA with an unknown man. This sparked concerns for her safety. A GoFundMe page was set up on November 15th to help raise funds for the search. Almost a week.
See, that's what I was saying. She looks like she doesn't want to be seen. Something was wrong with this here. She didn't want to be seen at all. That's the look that she has. Like, oh my God, I'm seen. People are going to find me now. She didn't want anybody to know where she was.
Later, Kobayashi's father, Ryan, was seen breaking down in tears at a rally. Speaking to
Poor guy, though. The poor father. It's just, it just sucks. Just really bad. But this might be a little insight here to what was going on too. Maybe he knew that she was kind of thinking about leaving, and I don't know. This whole thing is weird.
the US Sun, he called it every parent's worst nightmare, adding that we don't know where to start. It's very traumatic. Just days later, on November 24th, he was found dead in an LA parking lot after taking.
Barbara, it's Miss Barbara Hall. It's good to see Miss Barbara here. She's awesome. Charlotte's here too. You guys must have come in the same time. Justice for Timmy for sure. It's always good to see Timmy's legacy in here. Miss Barbara's awesome. Hi Charlotte, how are you? Good to see you. Hope you're well. Hope your chickens are fine. I wonder where Miranda is. I hope she's well. Charlotte's an amazing person. Barbara's an amazing person. Glad to hear.
His own life. Kobayashi's aunt claimed days later that there had been new sightings of her niece and that police were following promising leads. But on December 2nd, the LAPD ruled that Kobayashi was voluntarily missing after she was seen on CCTV crossing the border alone with her luggage and passport, having told people that she wanted a digital detox. Her family called this decision by investigators reckless and urged the State Department to help in the continued search for her. The family's attorney then had to step in on December the 3rd when they were criticized for keeping the fundraiser page open when Kobayashi had been deemed safe by investigators. On December 8th, cops revealed what took place between an unknown man and Kobayashi when they spent 9 hours together in LA before she went to the border. Investigators said that the pair met at a train stop at the airport around 9 p.m. on November 11th when they struck up a bond and explored the...
You're awesome, Southern Gal. Thank you so much. Sounds like a good name for a rock band. Hi, Barb and Charlotte. A good female rock band, Barb and Charlotte.
The city together before having dinner and falling asleep in the waiting area at Union Station. They ruled that there was no foul play and that the man had no bad intentions and that Kobayashi seemed normal and coherent at the time. She woke up and left the man in the waiting area as she walked off with her luggage. Days after this revelation, the Kobayashi family confirmed that she was safe and well in Mexico. The announcement was made on December 11th, exactly 1 month from the day she was reported missing. It is not known where she is or why she traveled to Mexico. But after...
Does anybody know why somebody would do this? Right? Like just have a secret affair with somebody. Maybe the family didn't get along with him or something. Maybe they knew about him and didn't like him or something like that. Or, but you would have thought if they would have known who he was, that would have been the first person they would have contacted. So it is weird, kind of, but it's, I don't know. She just wanted a new life.
After the news was announced, friends of Kobayashi told the Daily Mail that she had been part of a green card marriage scam. This had previously been suggested when a wedding picture taken in late October emerged on social media. The family said at the time that they were completely in the dark about any alleged marriage. Now, Kobayashi's co-workers are claiming that she and her ex-boyfriend, Amon Miranda, split.
Chickens could be pretty annoying. Once they get going, they're pretty good attack dogs. They're chickens, especially roosters. Chickens aren't sometimes the just innocent little old chickens. They can be pretty violent.
Split up months ago after booking their dream trip to New York. This vacation reportedly turned into a marriage scam where the pair met an Argentinian couple in Maui.
We have a lot of chickens around here because of the ticks. They eat a lot of ticks. So,
Alan Kakachi and his girlfriend Marianne. All four of them were allegedly due to be on the plane to New York with Kobayashi, having married Kakachi in October and Miranda marrying Marianne. The couple from Argentina are said to have tagged along on the trip to New York when Kakachi allegedly said that the newlyweds needed loved-up pictures at key landmarks to make the authorities believe that the marriages were legitimate. Kobayashi's colleague Desiree told the Daily Mail that it was no secret as she told us about her plans. But before they could get to New York, Kobayashi missed her flight and failed to book another one. Her co-workers claimed that there had been friction between the love square, with both women falling out. When Kobayashi was reported missing by her family, her co-workers started trying to help with the search by getting answers from her ex-boyfriend about the New York trip. He told them that when she missed the plane, he thought she would book another one or had simply changed her plans. He added that Kobayashi's green card husband was sweet and that he had nothing to do with her not turning up in New York.
Look, you can't make this shit up, man. It's just right. Like it's so. She said it with a straight face too. That's the funny part. My good Lord. Oh, all right. So what are we doing now? We're gonna go here. I do want to do. We already did that one there. Let's do this here. So she's well. I mean, we don't need to hear about her anymore. She's trying to live her own life now. So let's let her do that. Body of mother who was missing for months identified. Let's do that one. Oh, no, I wanted to do this one here. Hold on a second. All right, so it's good to see Charlotte Necessarily Evil in here. I hope you feel better, buddy. So this is former deputy sentenced to life without parole. This guy here is another piece of dog crap here. Here's this. I've been following this for a couple days here. This was done a couple days ago, yesterday actually. So here we go.
Deputy has been sentenced for the murder of his wife. Vaughn Cannon pleaded guilty to shooting and killing Jordan Pyle in their Canadian County home. The couple worked together as deputies at the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office. News 4's Hunter Elise is at the Canadian County Courthouse for today's sentencing. And Hunter, the judge handed down the sentence just moments ago.
Yeah, Heather, we actually just got out of the courtroom about 5 minutes ago where the judge did give him life sentence without parole. I just got an interview with Jordan Pyle's dad. He was in tears, even just talking to us. Tears were also filling the courtroom today as family and friends of Jordan were sitting in there listening to this. 2 witnesses also took the stand. One of those was Cannon's ex-wife. She was telling the judge she was abused during her previous marriage with him, also tearing up on the stand. stand. An investigator with Oklahoma City Police also took the stand. He broke down the body camera footage and journal entries written by Jordan Pyle. Those entries saying, quote, "I miss him, not the drunk one, the one I love." Another one saying he pushed me through a mirror. And multiple victim impact statements were read, one from Cannon's son telling his dad, quote, "You are a disgrace. What you did to us is unforgivable." Now, before the judge gave the final sentence, Cannon also took the stand today, sharing a statement apologizing to his wife's family and friends, saying grief is brutal and, quote, "I especially failed my beloved wife, Jordan." In the end, the judge did give Vaughn Cannon a life sentence without parole, tears filling that courtroom. Again, as I mentioned, they were stepping out. So you can kind of see them there behind me just a little bit, gathering, giving hugs, sharing memories. They also had pins that they were all wearing in reference to there in the courtroom. A very somber day here at the courthouse. Reporting live, Hunter Elise, Oklahoma's News 4.
All right, so that's that. That was in Oklahoma. Sorry. I'm going to play this guy here. Remember this guy here, the guy that jumped over the judge's desk here. This guy here. I'm probably going to laugh again. I apologize. This guy. So this is the guy that jumped over the judge's bench and almost killed her. He's saying now he's not an evil person. This was 4 days ago. 26 years in prison. So he's going to be away for a while. He'll probably get out in 3 years. But this is one of the funniest things you'll ever see in your life. This is just, I got to prepare myself for laughing if they show it. So let's do this here.
I'm not an evil person.
I mean, it's technically not supposed to be funny, but it just is funny. So I apologize.
31-year-old Gioba Redden pleads for leniency before a judge sentences him for this.
Oh my God,
An attack on District Court Judge Mary Kay Holthus as she sentenced him.
So freaking funny. It's one. Oh, this is too funny. All right.
On District Court Judge Mary Kay
sorry.
Holthus as January is him for this.
Oh my God, this is
An attack on District Court Judge Mary sentenced him in January on a charge of attempted battery. Redden running up and jumping over Holthus.
I'm making excuses for my actions. I'm saying, I know that I did not intend to kill Kay Holthus. I know I cared about her.
Holthus and a courtroom marshal both injured in the attack.
her well-being at all. Guy just do that. Oh.
Leading Redden with attempted murder during trial in September. Redden agreed to plead guilty with the stipulation.
I saw nothing but red, and I don't remember.
He said he was going to plead guilty, but she wasn't having it. She just was. I'm sorry.
Or doing anything except for jumping on. But I was like, why are you doing this to me? That's what I wanted. I know myself, but I'm not really sure.
He made a call. He made every effort to succeed. If he had his way, without the possibility of parole for murder.
Prosecutor Holthus during Tuesday's sentencing, Redden attorney explained his client's years-long battle.
Look, if you attack a judge like that, I mean, you're just not going to see the light of day.
This is a person and would be able to do the appropriate help from a psychologist.
As she handed down her 26 to 65, in this case saying this attack was one of the judges.
It was not just retaliation. It was also an attack on the
With credit for time served, Redden will be eligible for parole in the 2050s. He'd be in his mid-50s by then. I'm David Charnes, 8 News Now.
Days after the attack in January, Judge Holthus continued the hearing, sentencing Redden to several years in prison. Today's judge ordering this new sentence to start after that time on that case is fulfilled. The judge also today ordering Redden to pay more than $60,000 in restitution to the court employees who had to take time off from work after that attack.
How the hell is he going to do that? He's going to be in jail for the next 27 years. That's okay. Oh, I can't. That's stuff because it's. Let's get out of that. I want to play this too because we do a lot of criminal stuff here, but sometimes people get exonerated too. So let's able to leave the tall judge's bench and it's for a long time. Kristen Lobato, she's been in prison for 16 years. I think she was released a while back, but she got her conviction overturned here. So I'd like to play a little of this here because, with all the new technology and stuff, it's good for putting people in prison, but it's also good for getting people out of prison that didn't have anything to do with it. So here's this here. I believe this was on a homeless guy too, not sure.
Made by somebody falsely has power just in the making of it. And when a person is in a position of trust, you make that allegation, even if it's totally false, it has consequences.
A wrongful conviction, an exoneration, and a major settlement. That has been Kristen Lobato's life over the past 2 decades after being accused in a gruesome murder. Now, nearly a quarter of a century later, a federal jury has awarded her millions of dollars in restitution. Thanks so much for.
Right. She was the conviction was overturned a few years ago, and she just won a big settlement. But she deserves it. I mean, her life has pretty much been ruined. 16 years in prison without the same.
For joining us the night off. Our attorneys say that this is her quest for justice, and our News 3's now in studio with more on the story. George.
And they planted some stuff because they thought she was guilty, and in order to get a conviction, but I have no idea.
Well, Lobato was just 18 years old when she was arrested in 2001 murder of Duran Bailey, but now say with her awarded $34 million, she can find decades-long
$34 million
she was robbed of.
To lose away from family and friends, lose the ability to have biological children. She's 42 tomorrow. And
Good night, Paula. Thank you so much for coming in. Paula's good. Paula's an amazing person. I hope you have a great and have a great week. I'll be getting out of here soon, pretty soon too.
it's just a tremendous loss of time and the ability to have, build 23 years.
Attorneys for Lobato say while $1 million is a large lump sum, no monetary value amounts to the damage she's been put through after spending 16 years behind bars. Murder both in 2002 and 2000. Lobato's lawsuit claims she had been wrongfully targeted by law enforcement, defended herself against an unrelated rape attempt of her. However, new evidence presented by the New York Innocent.
So they tried to put her at the scene 70 miles away.
granted Lobato's release.
They presented scientific not have been in Vegas at the time, or that she was this information about the man's time of death, which was the time when she was somewhere else. She was in Nevada, which is 3 hours away.
With the exoneration certificate of innocence from the Nevada State Courts, Lobato's attorney may be some victory for their client. They say there is still a yet to be served.
These two detectives, they decided. And once they made that decision, wrote reports that said that, there was no, that corrupted the entire system. Which is an apology. We don't have an.
Hearing the verdict, Lovato issued a statement saying, quote, "I'm grateful to my attorneys, Lovey and Lovey, for taking my case when and for working so hard on it."
She was happy, you know, I mean, it's been a long, this experience was such a different experience for her trials. She felt seen.
I'll tell you, once you get into the system, it's anybody to believe you. Because I don't care what day you go. If you're just a visitor, it could be any day you go there. Everybody's innocent. In the prison's innocent. So it's to get anybody to listen to you, and to listen to you is one thing, but return so almost impossible. So new evidence that comes to light that this person here had nothing to do with the crime, then
Now, in addition, 34 million. The jury also awarded Lobato 10,000 punitive damages against the two detectives in the case. But for now, reporting in studio, Georgia Costa News.
All right, I'm sure she is relieved tonight, but nothing will give her back so much.
so there you go. That's that. I just wanted to play. Yeah, I mean, the whole this stuff right now with the Karen Reed case, and then you know, this is what happens when not are in control of cases, and not every police officer is terrible, but anyways. So I'm getting out of here. I would just want to thank everybody for coming in. It's awesome. Thank you so much. Sorry I'm getting out. It's almost 4 o'clock. Legacy is here. She's awesome. Great work. I have Timmy D's down here. Justice for Timmy D's all the time. Justice for Flora. And the case tonight with Gaia Taylor. And I'll keep track of that there. Southern Gal is amazing. Where would I be without Southern Gal? She's an amazing person. She has an amazing channel. Her channel's doing so well, and we're glad about that. She deserves it. She does great work. We love Southern Gal here. She's an amazing person. And hopefully we can catch up with a New Year's Eve thing. Jenny, you're awesome. Thank you so much for coming in. Paula left. Mustang 1965. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Did I say hi to Jenny? Jenny's great. Jenny 8675309 is awesome. Mino Dino was in here. Mino Dino's awesome. Necessarily Evil. Thank you, bud. Always good to have you in here. Hope you feel better, buddy. Better. I can't talk. It's thinking about that guy jumping over the. Yeah, this is freaking hilarious. Who else here was in here? I know PJ was in here. Thank you, PJ, for coming in. I'm probably not gonna get to everybody. JC Ann was in here. JC Ann's awesome. She's got a great channel. Who else was in here? Curious Contrarian. Thank you, buddy, for coming in. There's his channel right there. Zio Sandra Firelight was in here. Hope I'm saying that right. Thank you so much for all the information. Very good to have you here in the chat. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming in. You're welcome back anytime. Like I said, JC Ann's got a great channel. Need to get her to 1,000 subscribers. Heather Brown was in here. Heather Brown is amazing. She was one of my first subscribers. She's great. Always good to have Heather Brown here. Surprised Miranda wasn't in here tonight. Maybe she's upset with me again. Lighting the Way Home was here. Who else? I'm going to forget some people, no doubt. Let's see here. I'm trying to scroll up here. I know there are other couple of people in here that I'm going to forget. I'll tell you, it's so cold out. I get the temperature up to 70 in here, and it's still cold. Who else was in there? I know there's a couple other people in here. I don't want to forget them. But I think Kenny Powers was in here. I don't know who that is. Oh, Mino Dino's all right too. He wasn't in here for very long tonight. It's good to see you, buddy. And that's it. I'm going to get out of here. Sorry if I missed anybody. I want to thank everybody on the replay that's watching. Astrospace. Yeah, Astrospace. Thank you so much, Jenny. If I don't see all of you guys before Christmas, have a great Christmas. You guys are so awesome. But I want to thank all the people who are watching the replay too. It's all right, Barbara. You never have to say sorry here. It's you get here when you get here. You're awesome. You pretty much own this channel. We love having you here. You're an amazing person. Just awesome. That's it. Period. All right, so I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to play my outro, get the hell out of here. Thank you, Silent Gal, again for putting everybody's info in the chat. I'll stop this and then play. Karen Lee is here. Sorry, Karen. I'm going to get out of here, but you've probably been catching up anyways. It's always good to see Karen Lee in here. Play my outro and get the hell out of here. You guys have a safe, great weekend. Thank you, guys.